Zombie Drive Gaming. I'm here with Chris from Smokescreen, and today we're going to do a little something different. Basically, this is going to be a top 10 list of things that we want to happen in Star Wars Episode 8.
Nice intro and digging ahead. So yeah guys, this is going to be a top 10 video of what we want to see happen in Star Wars Episode 8. We separately wrote 5 things individually that we want to see happen, and we're going to share them with you and see if they're similar. With that, I'll let Dustin be my guest. Go first with his number 1.
The number 1 thing I want to happen in Star Wars Episode 8 is Snoke's identity. I want to know who he is, and it's been a top trend in anything you go on, like Google, Facebook, anything you go on. People want to know who Snoke is. YouTube too. It's very popular. Either Darth Vader, Plagueis, or he's just a brand new character that.
And the latest theory that he's Grand Moff Tarkin that blew up with Death Star 1.0. Just stop with that, please.
Yeah, and also there's been trolling saying that's also Jar Jar Binks. It's not Jar Jar Binks.
That was creative. I'll give them that.
It was
very creative.
They're not gonna say anything about it. They're not gonna leak anything. They're not gonna do anything about it until we see the movie. Like, it was the same way with Luke.
Yeah, no promotional materials, etc.
Right.
You just left wondering because they wanted you to kind of get that euphoria back about, oh, Luke Skywalker's back, and then he had one fucking 30-second scene.
They're not going to do that until Episode 8. Or they could completely just not acknowledge it and just wait until Episode 9, where it's the end of the trilogy. Okay, the movie needs to go out with a bang, so let's release his identity.
Well, they need to release an Episode 8, I think, to make sure that, you know, when you go into 9, it's going to be kind of the finale for this trilogy. So you kind of got to go into it at least knowing, or at least having a pretty damn good idea of who he is and where the fuck he came from. So my number 1 was actually about the same thing, Snoke's identity. I'd said many moons ago, as a matter of fact, you were on here the first video I did where we talked about Darth Plagueis 6-8 months ago. Now, I don't think they necessarily will. I think they probably will wait till Episode 9, maybe in the beginning of that movie, but I want them personally to get to his identity, his backstory. We obviously know he's a Force user. If he wasn't a Force user, nobody give a shit who he was or what he said or would listen to him for that matter to be the supreme leader. So I think it's important to kind of establish who he is, how he got into Ben Solo's head, how he came across him in the first place, and I would love this to be tied into the Sith somehow. I have a lot of people say, nah, they don't need Sith, you know, you just need dark side users. If the Jedi were all gone, it wouldn't be Star Wars. So without the Sith, it's not Star Wars. Even if it's not Plagueis, I would love for them to tie this into the Sith somehow. Perhaps they make the big reveal that from the EU theories that Plagueis is the father, essentially, of Anakin with all his Force experiments.
My second thing that I want to happen in Star Wars Episode 8, while Luke is training Rey, Luke just comes out straight forward and tells Rey about her parents.
If he knows, yeah. Assuming that he knows.
In one of the trailers, Luke said one of the lines from Return of the Jedi. They probably off of Ancestry.com saying, "The Force is strong in my family. My father has it, I have it, my sister has it, and now you have it." As soon as he says it, he goes straight to Rey. Now, when I saw that trailer, I was thinking, okay, Luke's going to say something in the movie. He's going to say, "Hey, Rey, you're my daughter. Huh? How you doing? It's been a while."
This was also my number 2, Rey's identity and her backstory and all that kind of stuff, so I'm just going to add to his. In this case, they do need to stick to the Skywalker lineage. I think Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilm under Disney now, has said that. This is about the Skywalker family. So I know there's a lot of theories out there about being a Kenobi, or possibly Snoke's daughter, or, you know, the Emperor's daughter, or something like that. Yeah. That would all be kind of cool, and I like the theories out there, and I like people digging around because I enjoy doing it too. But I think in this case, they do need to kind of stick to the script as far as making it, you know, Luke's daughter, and that would possibly tie into where the hell he's been and why he disappeared in the first place. I'm not sure if we will find out in Episode 8 completely about Rey's parents, even though Luke will be training her. We assume that he's going to start a Jedi Academy again. I don't know if we actually get confirmation from him. If he knows, which I think he does from the look he gave her at the end of Episode 7, he probably holds that from her for a while, and maybe to the end of the movie, perhaps. We may find out, but I think it needs to be established in Episode 8 going into Episode 9, so all that's kind of out of the way. There's no more introducing things. You can just get down to the nitty-gritty of what needs to happen in the final big battle.
When Han Solo died, Leia gave her that strong, "Hey, I'm your aunt, you're my niece, look."
Yes, that hug was, there was something more to that hug than, "Hey, I just really like you. You're really cool and pretty." Kind of goes back to the Maz Kanata, I've seen those eyes thing too before.
The third thing I want to happen, Captain Phasma have a big role and just go complete bad
ass.
Yeah, like she is in Game of Thrones. I want her to have the same attitude that Boba Fett had, and how he was just, ready for anything that happened. He didn't care what happened.
So you mean same attitude as in badassery, like I'm the man or I'm the woman in this case, whatever. I'm a bounty hunter, I'm badass. You can't touch this. That what you're saying about attitude?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So my number 3 was the Luke backstory. I want to know more about why Luke disappeared, and this also ties into the Rey backstory. If Rey turns out to be Luke's daughter, we're going to have to get the backstory on the Mara Jade character, which that was the wife of Luke in the EU. I know they may not name her that if there is in fact a wife, but whatever her name's going to be, they're going to have to explain the backstory of how Luke was able to have a child in the first place. Did he reinstate marriage within the Jedi Order? I know a lot of people have said that, maybe Finn could be like Mace Windu's grandson or something like that, but you got to remember, in those days of the old Jedi Order, there was no marriage, there was no attachment. Those were against the rules, so that's kind of out the window. In the expanded universe, Luke does get married to a character named Mara Jade, who was the Emperor's hand, actually, at one point. She's a Jedi as well, and they have been Skywalker. So we got to get the backstory of Luke and why he disappeared in the first place, on top of the whole backstory about marriage and the Jedi Order.
My 4th thing that I want to happen is Finn and Rey's relationship to grow more than just friendship. Yeah, they were arguing a little bit, but they were getting closer and closer and closer. When Finn was knocked out, Rey gave him a friendly kiss on the forehead and just said, "I'll see you when we wake up," basically.
I didn't see the romantic side of things like a lot of people did. I mean, that may very well happen, and that's fine if it does. I have no problem with it. And yeah, they became close in a sense because they were running from this enemy. They were all thrown into this fate together, right? The whole Star Wars story, just like Episode 4, A New Hope. When they went to Death Star 3.0, Starkiller Base, to rescue her with Han, I think she was just happy to see her friends back. But I saw, a friendly hug. Hey, I'm so glad to see you, and you wouldn't believe how I got the hell out of this shit because I learned a Jedi mind trick. And then at the end, after Finn got knocked out by Kylo Ren, I saw, really honestly, just a friend saying, we'll see each other again, take care, and gave him a friendly kiss on the forehead. I don't see the romantic thing. Maybe it develops into that, and that's fine if it does, but then that kind of ties into my last point about the Jedi Order, the new Jedi Order. We assume that Rey is going to be trained as a Jedi, and that would kind of go back into Luke's new rules. Is their marriage and relationships allowed? Because that would be an attachment. Then again, that could come in as a good storyline about the romance thing, because she might miss him while she's off training, and that becomes a pull to the dark side for her. So we could see her kind of go Kylo's path a little bit and feel that pull, because these Skywalkers, they all seem to, feel the pull of the dark side pretty damn hard. So my number 4 thing I want to see in Star Wars Episode 8 is the explanation of who the hell the Knights of Ren are. He was called Master of the Knights of Ren by Snoke in Episode 7. All this hype about it, about, the Knights of Ren as far as Ren being a title similar to the Darth title from the Sith, but we saw only a very quick flash of what we assume is the Knights of Ren in Rey's Force vision. So I want to know, is this a group of Jedi from the former academy that Luke started, if that's in fact what happened, that kind of joined Kylo's cause and turned to the dark side? How Snoke came across these guys, or did they come across Snoke, and what their whole backstory is. Is it some Force fanboy club? Is it some kind of new thing where perhaps Snoke kind of abandoned the Sith name and started these little dark side Jedi clubs or what have you? Who found them in the first place, or did they find Snoke, vice versa? Maybe perhaps they tie that into Rebels as well. It's some of the old Inquisitors, because that's a big thing now that's coming through with Rebels Season 2, is all these Inquisitors that Darth Vader and Darth Sidious used to hunt down the Jedi in the first place. So they could very well tie that into that TV show as well.
My 5th and final thing that I want to happen in Star Wars Episode 8, Kylo freaking Ren needs to shoot freaking lightning out of his freaking fingers.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to be a Sith, I'm a strong believer in this. If you're going to be a Sith, you need Force lightning. And also in the process, I feel like his powers need to grow as well. He's just starting out. He's a beginner.
A dark side noob.
Right. Force lightning needs to happen.
Let me add this. I would love to see that as well. I want to see him become a badass, and I think we will. I think he goes from kind of, pulled from the light and the dark, the emo child that kind of threw temper tantrums in Episode 7. But yes, I was saying this in Revenge of the Sith. When Anakin was fighting Obi-Wan, I wanted to see Anakin shoot a lightning bolt out of his ass or something before he got his ass waxed up by Obi-Wan. I wanted to see him at least, even without some training, just get mad and shoot even a little 9-volt. I was hoping for that so bad, because after that, obviously, he's mostly robot, he's mostly mechanical. He never got to fulfill his badassery as much as he should have because of the suit. Anyway, I would totally agree with that. I want to see Kylo become a full-fledged Sith, or whatever they call it, even if they get rid of the Sith title. I want to see him shoot Force lightning.
We want Kylo Ren to go from daddy issues to bad mofo. There.
What he said.
Yeah.
And finally, my number 5, the 5th thing I want to see in episode 8, I want to see Leia use Jedi fucking powers. I understand she didn't take the Jedi path. She went the path of leading the resistance and becoming General Leia. That's all fine and dandy. We did see in episode 7 she felt when Han died, so we know she's strong in the Force. She is a Skywalker. But I would love to see her at least, you know, Force push somebody out of the way. Perhaps, you know, the First Order finds their base, and similar to Empire Strikes Back, you know, which we'll probably see some parallels there between episode 8 and Empire. She's got to escape, and, you know, some troopers come through, and she, you know, Force pushes them out of the way. Something simple. I don't care if it's floating a fucking pen across the room to herself to take notes about Death Star 4.0 or whatever big weapon they have to destroy in episode 8 and 9. I want to see her use the damn Force. She is a Skywalker. She is a badass. To me, Leia was such a badass in the original trilogy. They really undersold her power and how badass she is, being just because she's older now and a general, and really didn't do anything special. I want to see her contribute a little bit before she goes away. I understand this is all about the new characters, but I still would like to see them go out with a bang and make a difference. I want to see Leia use the Force, other than just feeling somebody dying.
She has the name Skywalker for a reason. It runs through her blood.
You mean like the midichlorians?
I don't care if she uses the Force to break up a droid fight between BB-8 and R2-D2. Just use the freaking Force.
That would work. Something. Visually cool shot of Leia moving something, basically, what we're saying. Telekinesis. Just give us some fucking Leia telekinesis. Alright guys, so that's it for us today. That's our top 10 things we want to see happen in Star Wars Episode 8. The Jedi have awoken and now they're downstairs getting ready, whatever the fuck they named the subtitle. I got a lot more stuff coming up for Smokescreen as well as Because Views, the new channel that Val and I from Because Geek started, so check that out. In the meantime, click here, I think, for my last video on the top 10 reasons why The Force Awakens was basically the same movie as A New Hope. And you can also click here for the last video I did on Game of Thrones, which was a Game of Thrones Q&A. And I also spoke a little bit about George R.R. Martin's little, not a blog, about the Winds of Winter release date. So check those out. Let me know what you think.
And also comment down below what you want to happen in Star Wars Episode 8. Light his comment section up.
Yeah, so be sure to let us know what you want to see in Episode 8, what you want to happen, and what you think should happen, whether you want it to happen or not, as far as progressing the story along. Also, be sure to check out Dustin's channel, Zombie Drive Gaming. He just started that a few weeks ago, has one video up, I think, so far, but he's going to be doing some more gaming stuff and probably branch off into some other things, and that's totally up to him, so I'll put a link to that in the description as well. Thanks, guys, for all the support. Really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, it's Chris, and I have my custom musty here, and we're going to do a video on the Stopsman Smart Wars and Sandy Zone.